Good morning, everybody. We have to have an important talk here. This is fairly urgent. It's over a lot of emails I got. I tagged Roxanne Armstrong in this. It's important. It's important to go over Michelle Rempel and her talk of provincial constitutions, as well as UCP stirrings of a provincial constitution in Alberta, which would be terrific. I read the Fair Deal panel recommendation that they would like to go forward in Alberta with provincial constitutionalism. However, why would politicians write a constitution from a specific party? Why would they not have a normal constitutional convention like everybody else and just announce that and have town halls? Never mind silly referendums like the referendum equalization that we have to get into, because this is important for all provinces in Canada. A prime example of a foolish provincial government that is actually federalist. When Canadians deal with rule of law, when they deal with politics and policy, often, because just by the design of Canada, regionalism is completely wiped out. So the task of a provincial constitution by someone who's a federalist makes no sense at all. Just like the referendum UCP is putting forward, I believe it's on section 34, it might be 35, might have to go back and look at that. But the reality is, the United States of America, the Boston Tea Party, or when they dumped the tea into the bay, and then it went into a British-American war of independence. Why that happened was because of taxation without representation. And I'm going to clearly tell you all right now, there's nobody else that's going to come forward from any political party to tell you all the absolute truth. In our limited federal constitution act, the only one we have, recognized worldwide, we are given UN state status. We are a country. Whether people like that or not, we are a country. We are a UN state, which is a good thing. The problem is the taxation without representation and the pure power of both federal and provincial political parties who get elected to office. This is found exclusively inside Section 91 federally, saying and stating clearly, the federal government elected may tax you by any mode, means necessary that they choose. Okay? That is Boston Tea Party dump Rule 101 that's been broken. It's why America revolted. Because the UK at the time, Great Britain, was taxing by any mode, means necessary that they chose, meaning you don't have a say. That's Section 91 of our Constitution, 1867 and 1982, and has never been changed ever, throughout all the history of Canada. That is law, constitutional law. Worse than this, Canadians and Albertans, worse than this is absolutely Section 92, where the exact same clause exists for the provinces and territories. So any premier can tax by any mode, means necessary that they choose once you've elected them. And there's nothing anyone can do about it by law. There is nothing. So now Jason Kenney says, oh, don't worry, stupid, ignorant Albertans. Ha, ha, ha. I'm a federalist. I'm going to charge you 10 million. Also of that 10 million for the administered referendum out to every Canadian. All my fat cat buddies that are going to lead this referendum are going to get rich on it, okay? You're all going to think that you've accomplished some great and wonderful thing by taking Section 34 or 35, I'm not sure, I have to go back and look which one that is, where it goes into equalization. They're going to remove that, and that's going to solve all your problems. Uh-oh. We go back to Section 91. The federal government can tax you by any mode, means necessary. It doesn't state equality or equality of provinces, or it just says, like the British back in United States history, who decided to tax the Americans on tea, and then they dumped the tea in the harbor, and they went into a full-blown revolution. This is the problem with Canada right there, that no matter what other things that you may amend, you haven't touched the ultimate power of taxation without representation, meaning no problem. Even if you did win that and Trudeau went along and made it look like he's helping Alberta out, he will just craft another one. Currently, centralization's a prime example. People focus on equalization. However, centralization, which is done by redistributing taxes, and these are all the things that the people look at, and it's almost as high as equalization itself for specifically the province of Alberta. You can go through, there's a whole pile of items there. The Green New Agenda is just another way of taxation without representation, targeting specific provinces or territories to lead to centralization. This is represented well in great detail. It's been historic in Canada that there is no equality, there is no taxation with representation whatsoever. You all have no say. That's both federally and provincially. Now, going into more of this, Michelle Rempel talking about constitutionalism, like, oh, I'm with it. How about conventions hosted by the greatest minds in the world, going out to every community in every minority language? Now, that's a real constitutional convention for and done by the people. Why would that not be the case? Why would a government who's federalist, Michelle Rempel's federalist, you guys, she's an MP, why would you be speaking about provincial constitution, which is everybody, regionalism? Do you know how important regionalism is? You've never heard of it. In America, the founding fathers of the United States were split. Half were federalists, half were regionalists, just for the federal constitution. And did you know that the regional constitutions, meaning each state of the time, many states already had regional constitutions? So the founding fathers that came forward in the Constitutional Convention for the United States Constitution federally, half were regionalists. They believed in regionalism, which is a topic that's never existed ever in Canadian history. And you want to trust your builds with politicians who are federalists. Jason Kenney, clear federalist. Why would federalists write regionalism? Why would they write it? Well, that's easy. That way they can write a document that backs up their interests, their enforced powers, their colonialism, their crown over all of you, and match the federal crown power in the provincial, meaning there will never be any we the people, supremacy of God, and all the rest of it. It's a joke. It's disgusting. Why would somebody, I'm sorry, as uneducated as Michelle Rempel or Jason Kenney, a high school graduate, believe that they together could write a constitution for the province of Alberta? It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. It's a joke. And when you talk about corruption, that just screams it. I wouldn't let any political party or politician write the Constitution. And hear me, everybody. I spent 2 years grabbing the best experts in the world, devoted their entire lives to constitutional studies of their country and of others. People who have 12 years of education Not only did they get their law degree, they continued on, got a master's and into a doctorate, all professors of law, specifically constitutionalism, regionalism, federalism, policy, all of it. Masters in this world today, books upon books upon books upon shelves. These are the people that would be in constitutional conventions in each and every community, not only in the province of Alberta, not only in every reserve in Canada, but also in every town hall, minority community, in every single language. The cost of $140 million, meaning federal and regional for every province and territory, as well as going through each and every reserve, all minority communities, getting the work done absolutely by all of you. And for First Nations, this is for the chiefs, on reserve, off reserve, unceded, ceded, Inuit, Métis. Here's the thing. In any settlement of land, it will be your on and off reserve memberships. How big is your population? Why that would have to be done? It forces on and off reserve back to the table together in full unity, because we're talking mass amounts of land here. And then every Canadian, once all that's settled, every Canadian can look forward, every man, woman, and child, to 35 acres each. That's how it's done. It's just really that simple. There's no need to complicate things, go into great details about how hard the government makes everything. That's your filthy, corrupt government. That's not us. That's not what we're doing. Everything is simplified. Exactly how we take down the system. Very simple, simplified. A lot of work to go through everything, but reality is embrace the crown to destroy the crown. That means the day of election in a minority federal government, the only power capable of doing that, meaning being elected to prime minister, even in a minority, but you get the crown. And once you have the crown, the Prime Minister crown, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth's power transferred absolute and 52 to your politicians. Once that's done, day of election, a letter registered on media out to Governor General, all Lieutenant Governors of the provinces. Your services are no longer required. These are the outlined reasons. On Ascension Day, 30 days from now, when Prime Minister-elect comes forward, you will be terminated and replaced on that day with the party appointed, just like every Prime Minister has the power to do. Those loyal insiders will swear an oath to all of you, will not ascend any act or bill of any province, territory, or absolutely the House Parliament until all of you get constitutionalism, and that is federal dismemberment and redesign by all of Canada, all Canadians, in every minority language, in every reserve language, all of them, all First Peoples, all Canadians, as well as regionally for all the groups, everybody, in every language, by the best experts in the world. Government's not going to shut down. Everything's going to run exactly the same thing. The only thing we are arm barring is the Parliament and every legislature in Canada, until all of you get to build your constitution, which will outline rules of governance, how to govern, and absolute accountability. So this can never, ever, ever go forward the way it is, and itemized through every section, every article, and all of you will design that constitution with absolutely the best of the best in the entire world. They will be your guide. They will tell you what works, what doesn't. They will go through your ideas in great detail. Months and months, and you know what? After constitutional conventions of that magnitude, literally within months, Canada will be redesigned by you, the people. Again, with the best minds in the world. And there is not any legal team, any supreme or superior court of any province, and absolutely the highest court of Canada, because they will all be bound to the crown, which is bound to minority PM, which is Governor General and all Lieutenant Governors. That's reality. No one can even push forward any kind of legal action, it will be turned down. The politicians will be rendered powerless. They won't be able to do anything in any parliament or any legislature in all of Canada because they won't get ascension. They will have to go back to you, the people, and actually be MPs, MLAs, earn their money, and get you your constitutionalism. They're going to have to go and organize all these town halls and go to work, regardless of whatever party they are. It won't matter. This will be your job. And then the people of Canada will see when they don't do their job and they're not willing to give you that power, well, of course, we'll step in and we'll do it anyway. But the reality is they'll either play ball and they actually do care about you and they do want to fix Canada and the provinces, or they don't. And at least at that point you will know. But I promise you, in that situation with that, and only a minority government, the entire political system will be crippled. And it will only be you, the people. All government services will continue, nothing interrupted, but you, the people, will take your first step of your absolute crown power, each and every one of you. That's the truth. So watch out for silly referendums like Jason Kenney's provincial referendum on equalization. It's not going to change anything, I'm sorry. It's a farce, it's a lie, it's a waste of time. He's going into the wrong sections. Section 91 and 92, Jason Kenney. And you can only get the unilateral on 91 if Justin Trudeau agrees. Same with Section 92. You can only get that unilateral amendment if Justin Trudeau agrees. He won't. Everything you do is a waste of taxpayers' time and money. When really, Jason Kenney, Premier Kenney, if you really cared about Canadians, you would hold a constitutional convention outlined exactly as I've stated. You would do that, but you can't get that passed, can you? Lieutenant Governor will never do it. You don't want to do it. The truth is, you don't want to do it, Jason Kenney. You're a federalist. You're right in there with Justin Trudeau. You've already been a Privy Council member. Lifetime you are. You're Premier of Alberta. Full federalist. You could care less about the people of Alberta. You're there to crush, maim, destroy them, rape them of every dollar they've ever had or ever going to have, and make sure the children of the future are your slaves and your successors' slaves. That's your job. That's who you are, and you've always been that way. A filthy, blood-sucking, corrupt politician who's worth an astronomical amount of money, who somehow is able to be the greatest personal investment portfolio the world's ever seen. Jason Kenney is in the top 10 best investors of all time. Can you believe that? He can't manage Alberta. We're in the worst debt crisis we've ever seen. But yet somehow personally, he is the greatest personal portfolio investor the world's ever seen. Easy in the top 10. Jason, everything he touches is gold. But yet, when he runs the province, everything he touches is a belly flop and you lose your shirt. So how the hell does this mismanager of economics and money, a complete buffoon, able to become the greatest independently wealthy individual the world's ever seen? The answer is he couldn't be. He couldn't be. He's corrupt. He's stealing your money. He's got backdoor deals. People are lining his pockets, giving him all the insider information to make sure Jason's well taken care of while he rapes and destroys each and every Albertan. Now, everybody, Canadians, I go through Alberta because I know my province very well. I could easily repeat this if I put a few months in on Ford. I could do this with Higgs, New Brunswick. I could go through all of them. NDP, Horgan, BC. I could go through all of them, and I will find, repeat, again and again, the same filthy corruption. Because again, Section 91 federally, taxation by any mode, means necessary. This referendum has nothing to do with that. That's federal. And then again, provincial, Section 92, the exact same clause for the provincial leaders who have zero constitution, zero rules of governance, no rules of how to govern, and absolutely, again, everybody, there is zero accountability. They say it's stable. It's stable to have a fully autocratic regime. Very stable. Yes, stable for the politician. Stable for the financial aspirations of the politicians. How stable it is for you, the business owner. How stable it is for you, the working Canadian. How stable is it for you, the mother trying to raise children as costs soar astronomical. It's a joke, everybody. It's pathetic. They talk about child care. People can say what they want about Joe Biden. He just did the Juneteenth holiday. All children in the United States of America will be going forward, starting school in a preschool, free. They're going with the Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. Parents will now have a child. They'll get that year. They'll get that year of EI while they're having their baby, and the year after. After that, within a year of that time, they can put their children into school free, full-time schooling, which is like daycare. But of course, the United States of America, Joe Biden dare not say, everybody, he dare not say it, but he's bound to this treaty, and he's also bound to America First. What he says, and you can start watching his videos, exactly the same thing as Donald Trump, because he's bound constitutionally. He found out after the election, there's a pile of checks and balances. I have 2 years to fulfill America First. But if he calls it America First, then everybody's going to say, you're just like Donald Trump, because Donald Trump didn't make America First. What Joe Biden says is prioritizing America's interests. Prioritize, which means first, America's interest, which is America First. It's okay, right? I mean, he's trapped in it. He's going with the Declaration of Human Rights. You can read Education, the Declaration of Human Rights. Children in the United States of America, coming on soon, post this law and ascension, will be going to school from age 3. They're also putting constitutionalism in early education. So children are going to learn all about the history of freedom, liberty, constitutionalism, especially in the United States. And children are only going to become stronger, more soulful, supremacy of God following children going forward in America. America's going to get stronger because they're changing the education system to incorporate constitutionalism, supremacy of God, and teaching them the power of liberty at a very early age. Now that protects democracy forevermore. I'm in those live forums. With the USA's highest institution, government access. I've been given that. I'm not a lawyer. As well as I can go through all of them. Bingham Center, BICCL, UK, highest in the world of UK. All law. And they're all going through all of this. And Russia, USA talk. Will they get to the Declaration of Human Rights 1948? This is the challenge over the next 2 months for Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin. They can end NWO. They can entirely fix the world. Just 2 countries. Russia's the last one to sign. That's it. Read it, everybody. Read the Declaration of Human Rights. There are tremendous articles there for all of you. And make sure you don't let your filthy Michelle Rempel and Jason Kenney write your provincial constitution should they go that way. It's wrong, wrong, wrong. America hosts exactly how to do a proper constitutional convention, and you absolutely need the greatest minds in the world, which can be provided. For the province of Alberta, it's $10 million. That's it. And the best experts will come in the world. But if the government's going to administer and run it, and they're going to decide what goes forward because they have the crown, I don't see any kind of real constitution coming at all. And if it's not done, an absolute town forum process by every Canadian in the specific province, which is Alberta, and every single First Nation in the province of Alberta. And if there's no talk of settling the claims for the First Nations in Alberta, Inuit, through all the treaties, then you know what? You have another piece of paper that you can wipe your bum with and throw in the garbage. Michelle Rempel and Jason Kenney are not qualified in any means, have not taken this undertaking. They've spent millions and millions and millions of dollars, especially Jason Kenney and his government, millions of your borrowed dollars against all of you taxpayers. Unbelievable borrowing to come up with a bunch of Yahoo local losers. Whereas myself, I have the greatest minds, greatest institutions in the world for nothing. That was built in 2 years for all of you for nothing. Just the love I have for my province and my country. If we can fix it, I have the way to fix it. It didn't cost anybody anything, not yet. There is a cost, again, for 13 provinces and territories and one country of $140 million tax dollars. That's the truth, all Canadians in. Which is basically, we're looking at $3.50 for every Canadian. That's the truth. But once that's done, you will have the power over your government. You will have a system you all built, voted and ratified forward. And that's the only way to do it. Otherwise, corrupt politicians are only going to carry on with their crown colonial powers, change a few things here and there, but only keep the same things going forward. Just like this farce of an equalization referendum that does not, again, everybody, does not take into consideration Section 91 and 92. They ignore them completely, giving both the provincial and federal elected Prime Minister, Premier, ultimate Crown authority to tax you all in each province or federally against your province by any mode, means necessary. That is the definition of taxation without representation. And it means you can call it equalization, centralization, you can call it Green New Deal, carbon capture, carbon, and they come up with great names, right? Like clean the world or heal the world, right? It's like, it's just a tax pushed on a specific demographic to rob those specific people into the center, meaning centralization. It's just socialism. Or, in our sad state, an elite first-class citizenry called the politicians, who become rich at everybody else's expense, who don't really work. The only job they do is figuring out how to rob you blind and con you out of all your money. Our Canadian government definitely is not our friend. We're nothing like the United States. We can't get there because we don't have any real constitutional system that protects you, the people, puts you first and says, we the people. And then supremacy of God, which again, everybody, that's whichever God you believe in, meaning the human rights already there. Believe any God you want, as long as you're not breaking criminal code with your actions, you're going to be fine. It's whatever God you choose. It means don't ever put a human being on a higher pedestal of another human being. And never, ever give a human being power over you. Canada is chock full of crown power. Power of a human being over millions of other human beings. It goes straight to the head. The human condition isn't built for that. Absolute power corrupts, and this is the problem with Canada. Share this video. I tagged Michelle Rempel. I'm really getting sick of her now, honestly. I'm at the point, I'm starting to hate her like a liberal. I'm hating her that bad. It's like your Pierre Elliott Trudeau. I'm starting to think of you like that. And that's really disturbing for me. It bothers me because you're in Calgary, Alberta. You're in my home province, you're federal, and you're talking regionalism? Why would you be talking regionalism? It's bad, guys. It's all bad. I don't trust any of these governments. I'm really seeing the Conservatives as pathetic Paul Revere goes through a video I watched yesterday where he goes into all the detail what Trudeau's doing. Well, why is your presentation from February 21st the exact same thing? You're condemning and everything he says. This is the problem. They go through details of truth, but then what they don't tell you is, oh, by the way, I wrote the same policies out for presentation should you elect us in 2023. So everything I've condemned the Liberals about, who condemned our government under Harper, and he's a Privy Council from Harper, and he's sitting there and it's terrific. He's on there. 8,800 Canadians liked, loved, and shared that video, believing everything he said, which it is true what he said about the Liberal government and how money's going, the absolute corruption and ripping everybody off. It's 101 for him because he's already done it under the Harper government and he's going to do it again. You read his February 21st shadow budget presentation. He goes through all of it. He's doing the exact same thing. That's how he knows so much about it, because Harper did the same thing. Harper was the second worst prime minister, and that whole cabinet was the second worst cabinet against the Canadian people in all the history of Canada. Currently, Justin Trudeau has trumped that, almost doubled it now. By the time he's done this term, he will have tripled how bad that is. But everybody, it wasn't since Pierre Elliott Trudeau that things are so bad for Canada, and a lot of older Canadians remember, and then the interest rates, all that. But you know that Pierre Elliott Trudeau, as bad as that was, is only in third place. When you crunch all the numbers, he's only third place, as bad as that was. That means, everybody, we haven't even come to fruition of how bad Harper into Trudeau has gotten. First is Justin Trudeau, worst, when you crunch all the numbers, worst prime minister Canadians have ever had. Second place goes to Harper, not Pierre Elliott Trudeau. It's Harper. Harper was well on his way to outdo Trudeau. That's Pierre Paul Revere, Michelle Rempel, the entire cabinet. They're all privy, you guys. Maxime Bernier. He was in there. He went through all of that, had no problem with any of it. Any of it. I've read through everything he signed and voted for. He's in there like a dirty shirt. Sorry to tell you. Still lifetime Privy Council. He's never turned that down. You left the CPC. Why don't you give up your Privy Council? Oh, well, Trudeau's paying me money. I can't give up that money. That's free cash from all you, the taxpayers. Don't know what else to tell you, folks. This is reality. This is your government. And they will continue. Because they can tax and rob, rape you by any mode, means necessary. Section 91, Section 92. The United States of America had the American Revolution over the exact same thing. And you know what they got for their trouble? Constitutional conventions, we the people, supremacy of God, outlined the best by the people, for the people that's ever been done. How did they do it? Combination of federalism and regionalism, meaning there were lawyers that were federalists, there were lawyers that were regionalists, there were non-lawyers that were federalists, non-lawyers that were regionalists. Plain speak, simple constitution. The United States themselves, the 50 states, have hundreds and 100 pages of document on their individual constitutions. No two are identical, no two at all, no siree. They are individual, each and every 50 state. There is some overlap, sure. They have a lot of similar pieces, preambles are all very similar, some not so similar, but they all maintain the must-haves. Canada has none of those things. Start going into articles, water, we don't even talk about water. Out east here, people live on the water, they dump the crap in the water. That doesn't happen in the West. Western Canada isn't like that. I was just going through that yesterday with some Easterners. I said, look, people don't live on rivers out in the West. You can't be within a mile. They have a crown land boundary there. There are hoops to jump through. Municipalities jump through it. Certain things you can do on rivers, certain industries, but you have to go through a whole bunch. But people aren't living on them, not within a certain distance. you're definitely not dumping your crap in them. Now, people used to do that years ago. They get caught, but you get caught now. But out east here, that's not the truth. That's not even the reality. Canada has so many differences, and why? Because you have absolute autocratic premiers. There's no constitutions whatsoever, no regional rules, nothing to unify, to give the individual soul of a province or territory, and then to unify a country. There's none of it. None of it. We don't have any of that. United States of America, there are states much weaker than most of the provinces, way less the resources, but yet financially they're operating way better. They trade worldwide. They transport through each other no problem. They work together. They're in a union. Independence, sovereignty, union. Independence, sovereignty, union. Liberty. That's what they did. Now, I'm not saying we have to copy the American system, everybody. We don't. We're going to take a macrochet of the entire world of constitutional, 205 constitutions. Then there's a pile of regional constitutions. Way more in this world than all the UN states put together. Way more. And you should all see that. You should have that done comparatively. Canadians should know all that stuff. Each province and territory, region of Canadian citizens should know all that stuff. You should have a comprehensive, comparative look at what's worked, what hasn't, who's been successful with what. When you bring forward an idea, you should be able to have a world expert, a doctorate in constitutionalism, to be able to run through your idea in real world history and show you those key points in history, why it was super awesome, why it worked, for which countries it worked for, or why it didn't work, what are the pitfalls that maybe Canadians don't know about. Why would they know? They've never read that history. They never looked into it. They need those experts live in person right in front of them in town halls. That's why it's going to cost $140 million to do all 13 regions of Canada, meaning 10 provinces, 3 territories, and absolutely Canada. That's the truth. All First Nations, all Canadians. Thanks. That's my video today. Share, share, share. Go give your politicians shit. Call them out. Say, you know what? I know what you're trying to do, scumbag. I know. I've listened to Dave Bjorkman. He says he has the greatest constitutional experts in the entire world. The most abundance, greatest legally registered, out there in publication, recognized by most countries of the world. I have all of them. That's the truth. That's the work I did that I never charged a Canadian not a dollar for. Not a dollar. Because it's not about becoming filthily rich or scheming my own country. It's about empowering the people of Canada, finding those who can give to you what you really need, so that it's we the people, supremacy of God, and going forward with so much more that has never been done before. Rules of governance, how to govern, and accountability, putting the politicians under we the people, how it should be, turning the pyramid upside down. Here's all of you up top, here's your serving politicians down here. That's what has to happen. Not the pyramid the other way, where up here is your filthy, corrupt autocrats, and all of you, the peasants down at the bottom, getting pissed and shit on whenever they decide to do that. Raping, robbing, destroying your future, your children's future, your grandchildren's future. People ask me, why'd you take a vaccine? Why do you do it? I just went through it yesterday, got into a little bit of a heated discussion with a couple close friends, and I said, I would take 20 vaccines to make sure my children's future is secured. I would take 20 of them. And I may have to. I'm going to probably have to take Sputnik. I've had people call me, good close friends call me, tell me, oh, we're worried about you. We don't want you to die. We don't want this. I'm going to keep going. I went through a nuclear plant. I went through so much in my career. I've gone through the vaccines. Now I'm going to continue to do that. Whichever thing I need to cross, whichever path forward I got to do, I will do for my children so they have a future. I could care less. That's the truth, everybody. I will get the job done and I'll finish it. I don't ask for nothing. I just give truth. And that's for all of you. Thanks. Share, share, share. Bye now. Enjoy your Sunday.